What were banking regulators doing while some of the biggest U.S. lenders routinely file false disclosure documents in local courthouses around the country? In the case of IndyMac Federal Bank FSB, it turns out the FDIC was running the process. Bloomberg columnist Jonathan Weil has some thoughts, and those thoughts begin where?
Well, I mean, this is a hypocrisy story. This is about how the government itself was controlling, actually formed the bank after IndyMac Bank collapsed in 2008. And while the government was operating IndyMac Federal, which was its successor, it was also doing the same thing that J.P. Morgan Chase is reviewing, that Bank of America is the reason Bank of America suspended all these foreclosures, the reason the GMAC mortgage. They were sending out faulty sworn statements to courthouses around the country from Robo-Signers, making statements to form, it's part of the foreclosure procedures, trying to foreclose on people's homes that weren't true.
Okay, now that gets a little bit into the abstract, but let's get personal. Yeah. There's a story of the Machados from Florida. Tell us about them.
Israel Machado and his wife are homeowners in West Palm Beach, Florida. After the government set up IndyMac Federal, after the FDIC set up IndyMac Federal a few months, they tried to foreclose on them. And in this case, this is a textbook example of the problems that they're having in the courts down there. Accompanying IndyMac Federal's foreclosure complaint, which was filed by one of these foreclosure bill law firms down there, was a sworn statement by one of the Robo-Signers, who later testified that she and her team signed about 6,000 foreclosure documents a week, saying she had personal knowledge of, attesting to she had personal knowledge of the amounts owed on the mortgage by the Machados. And she later acknowledged in a deposition that wasn't true.
Now, it was interesting because the judge in this case had a very blunt assessment of what happened. What did the judge say?
The judge said there is a lie in the affidavit. That's a false affidavit. I'm dismissing this case. And that cuts to the heart of it. You try to go foreclose on somebody's mortgage loan in a court, and it comes out that there is a sworn statement that is a lie, as the judge put it. That court has every grounds and is probably going to be inclined to toss out the foreclosure claim.
Jonathan, the last couple of days, people have been asking me, because I guess I can't put it correctly into words, but define Robo-Signer for me.
Robo-Signer, imagine somebody who he starts the day with a stack of documents this tall.
Okay.
And spends the day doing nothing more than signing her name or his name on the line without looking at the documents. No matter what the documents say. The documents might say, oh, I have looked to see if all the books and records are in proper order, the assignment is proper. They just might as well be closing their eyes.
Jonathan, last 30 seconds, bigger picture, what were banking regulators doing while this was going on?
They were either clueless or they were allowing the banks to do this. And either way, they failed in their jobs because they have a responsibility to protect banks from reputational risk, to preserve confidence in the banking industry. And they blew it again. And the more they fail, the more power they get. It's incredibly we see on the Dodd-Frank Act.
All right, Jonathan Weil, Bloomberg columnist. Jonathan, always good to talk to you. Thanks. We should remind you that the opinions he expresses are his own and not necessarily those of Bloomberg News.